much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. And coming soon, I will be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link, or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 115. So I feel like there's something about Focus February. I don't know. I have to explain. In Finish Line Friday, my free virtual productivity session every Friday with my community that we've created in Finish Line Friday. I absolutely love my community that we've created. It is such a lovely and supportive group of co-workers. And I say co-workers as in we are co-working while we are in Finish Line Friday. But one of my participants, a fellow organizer here in the Chicago area, always uses alliteration when she states her intentions for how she plans to use Finish Line Friday. It's Finance Friday, like bookkeeping and bill paying, or Fashion Friday, like putting away laundry or packing for a trip. So as I was thinking and writing this morning, perhaps it's Focus February, or not. I know it sounds a little corny, but we'll see where my writing and content calendar takes me. My current plan is 2 upcoming episodes about focus, another about finances, and one about medical follow-up. So perhaps the F's in February will work. Now on to today's topic. So my title for today is The Best Use of Time, not just efficient, but effective. A company asked me to present in February for a professional development session. When I asked about the topic they were looking for, the questions that the coordinators asked were all about focus. I know the participants and their industry too, so I can write about focus, and I can also write in the context of working remotely, as they are all remote workers. Specifically, the topics are helping the team remain on task, staying focused, and making the best use of their time. So yes, excellent. I can do that, right? So that's what I told the coordinators. I can do that. I can write a presentation for that. Sounds great. And then I thought those ideas also sound like great podcast episodes and articles. So today and next week, I will answer those questions. But I actually want to start with the last one. How to make the best use of their time. And that is in quotation marks on my screen. This is a great question. This is an important question. And it's really a big picture question in business. But we do need to lay some groundwork before we can answer this question. First, we need to define best. And again, it's in quotations on my screen, as in, also quotes, of the most excellent, effective, or desirable type or quality. Thank you, Google. Stepping to the side here, last week, I took you to college with me with a revisit from Intro to Psychology and Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. So this week, you're going back in time with me to junior year of college and productions and operations management. Now, this may not sound exciting to most people, and okay, that's fine. But I will say that this was one of my favorite management classes, and the content has certainly stuck with me. So in productions and operations management, we talk about the difference between an efficient use of resources and an effective use of resources. So efficiency refers to the least outlay of resources like time and money, manpower, and materials. With efficiency here, cheapest and quickest win the day. But that might not yield good results. Effectiveness, on the other hand, is the best outlay of resources like time, money, manpower, or materials. By using more resources, we can achieve the right definition of best that we just talked about, the most excellent, effective, or desirable type or quality. So in that class, I recall we looked at efficient versus effective in the auto industry. It was the early 90s. Cars could be cheaply and quickly made, of course, but those cars might not have been very good or reliable cars. And so the theory was spending more time and money and labor yielded higher quality, more reliable, more desirable cars. And that is where we're coming from today. As we determine the best use of a participant's time, we're going to look at effectiveness, how to choose the best combination of our resources. And in the workplace, and specifically for this company's professional development, we want to encourage the best. The best use of our time means maybe we use a few more resources like time and manpower, but choosing the best use will have the biggest impact, the most positive impact on what we're trying to achieve. And to further define best, we need to know what is important to those participants and to the company. Because here's the thing, best is a subjective statement, right? It's personal. So meaning it's very personal and individual to each participant and to each of us by extension. The best use of my time will look different from anyone else, and that's okay. Again, very subjective. But recalling that this is for a business-specific professional development, best in this case probably means productive, but also being productive with the right things. And again, back to the best things. A coaching client in a recent session called them the needle movers, right? Imagine your speedometer in your car. Man, there's a lot of car references today. But imagine the speedometer in the car if you had a progress meter on your project task list, right? Those are the needle movers, and those would get you closer to done. The needle movers, the change makers, the accelerators, right? So that's what we're looking for. And for all of us then, to make the best use of our time in the workplace, we need to know what is important to move us towards our goals and desired outcomes and to get those important and needle-moving tasks done. Which brings me to focus areas. As we determine our best, we need to know our focus areas because we need to know what's important, right? So what are yours? I know I've talked about these before, but we're talking about them again. So what are yours? The question is in your whole life, right? But also in your work life. So I've talked about focus areas in past podcast episodes and articles, but I would like to revisit them for today's article and podcast because we have to know our focus areas to know we're making the best use of our time. And I will use me as an example because then I don't have to ask for permission. In life, my focus areas are business, home and personal, wellness, and service, like Board of Education work and ministry. In my business, I have focus areas as well. So in my business, those focus areas are speaking and teaching, coaching clients, organizing clients, content, like my podcast, newsletter, articles, website, social media, education, like attending webinars and conferences for my continuing education units, and the business of my business, like bookkeeping and scheduling, paying for insurance, that kind of stuff. So as I decide how to spend my days, I keep those focus areas in mind. When tasks come up or requests for my time, I filter those requests through that list of focus areas and decide where the request belongs or if I need to just say no, thank you, right? We're looking at the best use of my time. So we want to make sure that I'm spending it on the things that I want to focus on. My to-do list is quite lengthy. You know, there's daily routine tasks on there, there's weekly tasks, and those aren't even the actual work where I go and do with clients or students or, you know, Board of Ed work or ministry, right? So that's not even me like leaving the house and doing work for others. So I have my own to-do list for myself and my business, and unfortunately, it is longer than I can ever accomplish in a day. So I really have to narrow my options, zoom in, and focus on the best use of my time, right? On what needs to happen just today to move that needle. Because another challenge, of course, in determining the best use of our time is that time is a limited resource. We only have so many hours in a day dedicated to work, and that's as it should be. We're more than just drones. But with time as a limited resource, we must use it wisely. We've got to be a little choosy. How do we do that, right? How do we choose? So here's some questions you can ask yourself as you are trying to figure out the best use of your time today. So if needed, review your goals and intentions. What about what focus areas are we focusing on today? Because we can't focus on all of them, sorry. Maybe what hours are available to me today? When are my peak productive hours? So are you an early in the day person, a midday person, an evening person, maybe a late night person? Just knowing that about yourself is really helpful. What tasks or projects on today's lists are time sensitive? So what's got a deadline? What's got a due date? What's got a deadline? Maybe those come up a little higher priority today. And also, what tasks are other people relying on you to complete so they can complete their work? And then there's the question of what can only I do, right? There's bound to be tasks that only you can do, but there also might be tasks that you can absolutely delegate to others. And all of these are effectiveness questions. Not once did I ask, how do I do this the quickest or the easiest or the cheapest? Most days, I choose 3 or 4 must-do tasks for the day, and I recommend you do the same from that lengthy to-do list. Truly, I try to choose my 3 or 4 the night before for the next day. Some may be routine or urgent and time-specific, but almost every day I spend a little time on a longer, bigger, more strategic project too, and that is the best use of my time, working on those needle movers, those change makers. For example, I was working on a project yesterday and, well, I really didn't want to do it. I didn't. It was rather tedious. My attention was pulled in a million different directions. I could easily have abandoned that project for something else, like anything else, really. But looking at that list of questions I just suggested that you ask yourself, I realized that yesterday's project is attached to the larger project of relaunching my website, which is a very near goal. We have a time-sensitive deadline. I've already delegated most of the work to my assistant, who is awesome, but this project yesterday required me to make decisions that only I can make about content that needs to move from the old website to the new one. And we can't relaunch until I complete this project. And while it was tedious, it didn't actually take that long to complete. I think I was dreading it more time than it actually took to do it. So I did it. That was the best use of my time. It consumed, it required time and attention and energy as resources, but it was absolutely a needle-moving activity, and now it's complete. As I wrap this up, because writing a longer article is not the best use of my time today, and reading or listening to a longer article isn't the best use of yours either, I want to share 3 caveats to making the best use of our time. And they are, first up, there can be more than one best use of our time on any given day. So we don't have to get stuck on finding the perfect use of our time, just the best or a best. Secondly, some days we just need to act. We will talk about focus next week, but there are some things we just have to do that, going back to last week's article, are just about survival and maintenance. But once those are accomplished, we can look at making progress, at the best use of our time. And finally, not everything can be your favorite. We can talk about effectiveness and focus areas, etc., but we cannot feasibly focus on all the things every day because then really we aren't focusing on anything. Thanks for taking that walk through time with me back to college and my favorite management class of productions and operations management, and looking at how to make the best of our time on any given day, considering effectiveness instead of efficiency. Support around getting things done is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at Colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through any of my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thanks so much, and talk to you next week.